When the Nagmani Cobra's jewel was discovered today, let me tell you a tale of profound significance, a story that dances on the edge of the mystical and the earthly, a tale that is not merely of a jewel but a symbol of a deeper truth, one that transcends time and logic. It was a moment, a fleeting encounter in the fabric of existence, yet it echoes through the corridors of consciousness. This is the story of when the Nagmani, the legendary Cobra's jewel, was discovered. In a time long past, in the stillness of the forest, amidst the ancient trees and whispering winds, there was a search not for gold or riches, but for the essence of life itself. For those who truly seek, the treasures they find are not of material nature, but of something far more valuable, something that cannot be touched with the hands but must be felt with the heart. One day, in the midst of silence, a profound realization emerged. The Nagmani is not a jewel hidden in the earth, nor is it a rare stone guarded by serpents. The Nagmani is a reflection of a higher truth, one that exists in the depths of one's own being. It is the energy that sustains life, the force that flows through all things, the energy of creation itself. As the journey unfolded, it became clear that the Nagmani is not an object to be possessed, but a state of awareness to be experienced. It is a moment when one transcends the limitations of the material world and touches the infinite, the eternal and the divine. This discovery, though seemingly extraordinary, is not something that belongs to a specific time or place. It is available to anyone who dares to look beyond the surface, who dares to dive deep into the mystery of existence and embrace it wholeheartedly. When the Nagmani was found, it was not by force or by conquest, but through a deep surrender to the unknown, a willingness to be one with the vastness of the universe. It is a reminder that in seeking the highest truth, one must relinquish the small self and embrace the vastness of existence. The Nagmani is not just a symbol of the extraordinary, but a key to understanding the simplicity and profundity of life. It is a message to those who seek. The greatest treasures are not far away, they are within you. The moment you understand that the jewel is not outside but inside, you will discover a wealth that cannot be measured. This discovery is not a one-time event, it is an ongoing unfolding. Each day, each breath reveals more of the jewel, more of the truth. And as you walk this path, you will realize that the Nagmani is not something you seek to possess, but something you become. It is the essence of who you are, the very core of your being. So I urge you to look within. Seek not the treasure that lies hidden in the mountains or buried beneath the earth, but the one that resides in your own heart. For when you find it, you will discover that the entire universe is your possession, and the greatest of all jewels is already within you. The Nagmani, often depicted as a mystical jewel held by serpents, is widely regarded as a symbol of the extraordinary, an object of rare beauty and power. However, the true nature of the Nagmani extends far beyond the material and the physical. It is not simply a jewel to be unearthed or possessed, but rather a reflection of a deeper, intangible reality that exists within the very fabric of existence itself. In its essence, the Nagmani is a symbol of enlightenment, a representation of the highest level of awareness and spiritual insight. It is not something that can be obtained through external means, nor can it be owned by anyone. Rather, it exists as a reminder of the boundless potential within every individual. It speaks of a state of being, a state where one transcends the limitations of the body, the mind and the ego, and connects with the infinite energy that runs through all creation. This jewel does not shine with physical brilliance, but with the radiance of an awakened consciousness. It is not hidden deep within the earth or locked away in a distant temple, but resides with each person who dares to look within. To find the Nagmani is to uncover the deepest truths of existence, the interconnectedness of all things, the realization that we are not separate from the world around us, but a part of it, flowing with the same currents of energy. The Nagmani also symbolizes the mysteries of life itself. It is not simply a metaphor for enlightenment, but a key to understanding the secrets of the universe. It is a point of intersection between the known and the unknown, a space where the limits of human perception dissolve and the infinite potential of the cosmos becomes apparent. Those who encounter the Nagmani do not possess it in the conventional sense, for its true value lies not in its possession, but in the realization it brings the awareness that the jewel is not an object, but a state of being, Ultimately, the Nagmani's true nature cannot be grasped by the intellect alone. It is not something that can be studied or catalogued, it must be experienced directly through a deep inner knowing. To touch the Nagmani is to touch the very essence of life, to align with the forces that govern the universe and to embrace the mystery and wonder of existence in its purest form. It is the recognition that the jewel of wisdom and truth lies not outside but within, waiting for each of us to discover it for ourselves. The journey inward is one of profound significance, a path that leads beyond the surface and into the very heart of existence. It is not a journey measured in distance or time, but in the depth of awareness and the expansion of consciousness. When we speak of the journey inward, we are not referring to physical exploration or the pursuit of external goals, but to a profound shift in perspective, a turning away from the distractions of the outside world and toward the vast, unexplored terrain of our own inner being. This journey begins when one recognizes that all external pursuits, no matter how alluring or rewarding, ultimately lead to temporary satisfaction. The treasures of the world are fleeting, and the experiences we accumulate outside ourselves, while important, cannot provide lasting fulfillment. In this realization, the seeker is drawn to something deeper, something that cannot be touched with the hands but must be felt with the heart. The journey inward starts with this simple but profound recognition: the greatest mysteries of life are not out there but within. As one ventures inward, the first challenge is to quiet the incessant chatter of the mind. Our thoughts, conditioned by years of experience and societal influences, often pull us away from the present moment and distract us from the truth that lies hidden beneath. It is through practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and contemplation that the seeker begins to silence this noise and turn their attention toward the inner landscape. In this stillness, clarity begins to emerge in the form of words or concepts, but as a deep, unshakable knowing that resides within. The journey inward is not always comfortable or easy. It requires courage, for it means facing the parts of ourselves that we may have ignored or feared. In this inward journey, we encounter the shadow, the aspects of our being that we have repressed, denied, or failed to acknowledge. Yet, it is through confronting these aspects that true transformation occurs. The darkness within is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be integrated and understood. Only by embracing the entirety of ourselves, the light and the shadow, can we fully realize our potential. Along this journey, one begins to discern that the external world is a reflection of the inner world. The patterns, relationships, and experiences we encounter in life are not mere coincidences, they are mirrors of our inner state. As we transform inwardly, our external reality begins to shift, as if the world itself is responding to the changes happening within us. This recognition brings a sense of empowerment that the power to shape our lives, to experience joy and fulfillment, lies not in the external world but in our ability to align ourselves with the deeper truths that reside within. The deeper one goes, the more profound the realizations become. The journey inward leads to an understanding that the self is not a fixed, isolated entity, but an ever-changing expression of the greater whole. We are not separate from the universe, we are intricately woven into the fabric of existence itself. The more we dive into this truth, the more we begin to experience the interconnectedness of all things. We realize that our actions, thoughts, and intentions ripple out and affect the world around us in ways we cannot always see, but which are no less real. In time, the journey inward becomes less of a quest and more of a way of being. It is no longer something we do or try to achieve, but something we inhabit. It is the realization that the treasure we seek is not found in distant lands or grand accomplishments, but in the simple, direct experience of the present moment, in the quiet awareness of our own breath, and in the deep recognition of the truth of who we are. The journey inward is not about arriving at some final destination, but about the ongoing unfolding of the self as we continue to peel back the layers of illusion and discover the boundless potential that lies within us all. A higher truth is not something that can be easily defined, captured, or held onto by the mind. It is a truth that exists beyond the confines of language, beyond the limitations of logic and reason, and yet it is the most fundamental reality of all. This truth is not a mere abstraction or intellectual concept, but a living, dynamic force that infuses every aspect of existence. It is a truth that is felt, experienced, and known not through words, but through direct perception, a truth that resonates in the very core of our being. In the search for a higher truth, the seeker moves beyond the boundaries of individual experience and personal bias. The ordinary truths we hold to be self-evident are shaped by our perceptions, our conditioning, and our limited understanding of the world. These truths are based on what we have been taught, what we have seen with our eyes, and what we have heard from others. They are valuable in their own right, yet they do not encompass the vastness of reality. They are fragments of a greater whole, partial glimpses into a deeper understanding that is beyond our immediate grasp. A higher truth, however, is not fragmented or partial. It is whole, complete, and all-encompassing. It transcends the individual self and touches on the universal. It is the recognition that what we perceive as separate ourselves, the world, the universe are not isolated entities, but interwoven expressions of a single, unified source. This higher truth reveals the interconnectedness of all things, the deep and inseparable bond between every living being, every element of nature, and every moment in time. To touch this higher truth, one must look beyond the distractions of the world, beyond the fleeting pleasures and pains of life. The noise of the mind, the turbulence of emotions, and the turbulence of life's challenges can obscure the deeper understanding that resides within. Yet in the stillness of the heart, in moments of quiet presence, the higher truth begins to reveal itself. It is in those moments when the mind ceases its constant chatter and the distractions of the outside world fade away that we catch glimpses of the eternal truth that lies beneath. This higher truth is not something that can be understood through intellectual effort alone. It is not something that can be grasped through the accumulation of knowledge or the pursuit of external achievements. While knowledge and experience are valuable tools on the path, they are only pointers. The true essence of a higher truth is known through the direct experience of life itself, through a deep, embodied awareness that goes beyond the limits of thought. It is in the quiet moments, the moments when we are fully present, that we begin to touch upon the deepest realities of existence. In the experience of this truth, there is a deep sense of peace and understanding. The questions that once seemed so important, the uncertainties and doubts, dissolve in the presence of this truth. It is a truth that does not require belief or affirmation. It is self-evident in its simplicity. It is a truth that transcends all dualities, pleasure and pain, light and dark, good and bad. These distinctions fall away when one experiences the higher truth, for they are seen as part of the same whole, the dance of opposites that gives rise to the richness of life. The higher truth does not require that we abandon our individual identities or renounce our personal experiences. Rather, it invites us to see these experiences in their larger context, to understand that each moment, each thought, each action is part of a grand and eternal flow. It calls us to move beyond the small self and into the vastness of the universal, to realize that we are not separate from the world, but integral to it. As we align ourselves with this higher truth, the world around us begins to change. Our perceptions shift, and we begin to see the divine in every moment, in every encounter, and in every aspect of life. The higher truth is not distant or abstract, it is embedded in the very fabric of existence, waiting to be recognized. When we begin to live in alignment with this truth, our lives become more harmonious, more meaningful, and more connected to the larger purpose of life itself. The higher truth is not an end to be reached, but a state to be realized. It is a continuous unfolding, an ongoing discovery that deepens with each passing moment. The more we open ourselves to this truth, the more it reveals itself not as a fixed reality, but as a living present, always shifting and evolving. The journey toward the higher truth is not about attaining something new, but about letting go of the falsehoods that veil it, so that we may finally see things as they truly are. Beyond material wealth lies a realm of fulfillment that cannot be captured by the accumulation of possessions or the pursuit of external validation. The idea of wealth, in the conventional sense, is often tied to tangible things, money, property, status, and physical comforts. These are all elements that society has come to associate with success and happiness, yet they are fleeting, transient, and ultimately incapable of providing lasting peace or satisfaction. While material wealth can certainly offer comfort and security, it does not address the deeper needs of the soul, nor does it fill the inner void that many experience. True wealth, the wealth that transcends material possessions, is rooted in the richness of inner life. It is found in the cultivation of self-awareness, peace and connection. These forms of wealth are not dependent on external circumstances, they are cultivated from within, and they grow through practices of mindfulness, compassion and self-reflection. This inner wealth is deeply sustaining, for it is not subject to the unpredictable fluctuations of the material world. When one discovers this inner wealth, it becomes clear that it is a far greater treasure than anything the material world can offer. Beyond material wealth, there is the wealth of knowledge, not simply knowledge that comes from books or external teachings, but the deeper, experiential knowledge of life itself. It is the understanding that comes from paying attention, from observing the ebb and flow of one's thoughts and emotions, from becoming attuned to the rhythms of nature and the pulse of the universe. This knowledge cannot be bought or traded, it must be earned through living fully, through engaging deeply with each moment, and through learning from both the successes and failures that life offers. Another dimension of wealth beyond the material is the wealth of relationships. While material wealth might bring temporary pleasure or recognition, it is human connection that provides the deepest and most enduring sense of fulfillment. True wealth is found in the love we share, in the bonds we create, and in the way we connect with others on a deep soul level. This wealth is not dependent on status, possessions or appearances, but on the authenticity and depth of our interactions. The most meaningful wealth is the ability to give and receive love, to truly listen and understand one another, and to be present with each other without judgment or expectation. Beyond material wealth lies the wealth of purpose. This is the realization that true contentment comes not from accumulating things, but from aligning with a greater sense of meaning and direction in life. Purpose is the guiding force that shapes our actions and decisions, and it provides a sense of direction and fulfillment that surpasses any material possession. When we live in alignment with our purpose, we experience a deep sense of satisfaction that cannot be attained through external success. It is this purpose that drives us to give of ourselves, to contribute to the well-being of others, and to engage with the world in a way that is meaningful and impactful. There is also a wealth that arises from living in harmony with nature. Material wealth often separates us from the natural world, leading to a sense of disconnection and imbalance. But when we reconnect with the earth, with the cycles of nature, and with the natural flow of life, we tap into a wealth that nourishes our body, mind and spirit. This wealth is not measured in dollars or possessions, but in the sense of peace, contentment and renewal that comes from spending time in nature, from witnessing the beauty of the world around us, and from living in tune with the environment. Additionally, beyond material wealth is the wealth of freedom, freedom from the constraints of desire, fear and attachment. When one is attached to material wealth, there is a constant striving, a sense of never having enough. But true freedom is found when one realizes that the pursuit of wealth in the material sense is not the answer to life's deepest questions. Freedom arises when one learns to live with less attachment to possessions, to let go of the need for more, and to embrace life as it is. It is the freedom to experience life fully without the burden of always wanting something more, without being bound by the constant chase after external approval or validation. There is also wealth in creativity and expression. Material wealth may allow for comfort, but it does not allow for the full expression of the self. Creativity in all its forms is an invaluable treasure. Whether through art, music, writing or simply in the way we engage with the world, creative expression allows us to tap into the limitless potential of the mind and spirit. It is a form of wealth that enriches both the creator and those who experience it, for it speaks to something beyond words, something deeply rooted in the human experience. Creativity gives us the ability to shape our lives in meaningful ways, to express our innermost thoughts and feelings and to contribute to the collective consciousness of humanity. Finally, there is the wealth of peace. This is the internal wealth that comes from a deep sense of contentment and serenity. It is the wealth that arises when one stops searching outside for answers, when one learns to sit in silence and embrace the present moment. Peace is not something that can be bought or acquired, it is something that must be cultivated within. When one achieves inner peace, the external world loses much of its power to disturb or unsettle. Peace allows us to approach life with clarity and equanimity, to face challenges with grace and resilience, and to remain grounded regardless of the storms that may arise around us. Beyond material wealth lies a vast, untapped treasure, one that is available to all who are willing to turn inward and seek the wealth that resides in the heart, mind and spirit. This wealth is not measured by the material standards of the world, but by the depth of our understanding, the quality of our relationships, the richness of our experiences, and the peace we cultivate within. It is a wealth that grows with time, with awareness, and with the choice to live in alignment with the highest truths of existence with which we navigate the world. It is the recognition that we are always in motion, always evolving, even when it feels as though we are standing still. The truth of this journey is that we are never truly static. We are always growing, shifting and transforming, whether we are aware of it or not. The continuous journey requires patience and acceptance, for it is never linear or predictable. It is full of twists and turns, moments of progress and moments of setbacks. There are days of clarity and days of confusion. There are times when we feel we are advancing only to encounter challenges that seem to send us backward. However, it is in these moments of difficulty that the journey truly becomes meaningful, for they are the experiences that shape us, refine us, and teach us the most profound lessons. It is through facing adversity that we are often shown our own resilience and strength, and it is through embracing the uncertainty that we cultivate trust in the process. As we walk this continuous journey, we realize that each experience is a stepping stone, each encounter a reflection of the larger whole. The people we meet, the situations we face, and the lessons we learn all contribute to the unfolding of our path. It is not always clear why certain things happen, but with time and reflection, we come to understand that everything is interconnected. There are no isolated events, everything is part of the intricate web of life, weaving together the story of who we are and who we are becoming. In this continuous journey, there is no singular fixed self. The person you were yesterday is not the same person you are today, and the person you will be tomorrow will be different still. This is not to say that we lose our essence or our core identity, but that the journey invites us to continuously evolve, to shed old identities, and to step into new ways of being. We are not confined to a single version of ourselves, rather we are an ongoing process, an unfolding potential. Each chapter of our life brings with it new possibilities, new aspects of our character and new perspectives. A continuous journey also teaches us to embrace the present moment. Often we spend so much time thinking about where we want to go, what we want to achieve, or how we want to be seen, that we forget to fully engage with where we are right now. The beauty of the journey lies not in the destination, but in the depth of our attention to the present moment. When we are fully immersed in the now, we begin to experience life in its fullest richness. We realize that every moment, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, holds within it the potential for growth, understanding and transformation. This journey is not something that can be forced or rushed, it unfolds at its own pace, according to its own rhythms. It requires surrender to the flow of life, to the ebb and flow of circumstances, and to the deeper wisdom that guides us even when we do not fully understand where we are headed. There is an underlying trust that, even in the moments of uncertainty or difficulty, the journey is leading us exactly where we need to go, and that every experience, good or bad, is part of the process of becoming who we are meant to be. As we continue on this journey, we come to recognize that the path itself is the teacher. The moments of clarity and the moments of doubt, the moments of joy and the moments of sorrow, all of these are part of the larger tapestry of life. The journey invites us to remain open, to remain curious, and to approach each experience with a sense of wonder. The more we engage with the journey in this way, the more we realize that there is no final arrival, but only a continuous unfolding of the self. And in that unfolding, there is endless beauty, endless potential, and endless growth. In this continuous journey, we learn that life is not about seeking perfection or trying to control the outcomes, but about embracing the imperfection and the uncertainty. It is about the willingness to be in motion, to be flexible, and to allow life to surprise us. We begin to understand that the journey itself is the gift, that it is not the end that matters, but the experience of being fully alive in each step we take, in each breath we breathe, and in each moment we live. The jewel is within a simple phrase, yet one of the most profound truths one can come to understand. It speaks to the heart of the human experience, to the realization that everything we seek, all the answers we long for and the fulfillment we desire are not hidden in the external world but reside deep within our own being. In a world constantly urging us to search outside ourselves, to accumulate possessions, achievements and validations, this truth stands as a reminder: true wealth, true peace and true understanding cannot be found through external pursuits, but through the recognition of our own inner nature. For much of life we are taught to look outward. We are conditioned to believe that happiness lies in what we own, in who we know, or in the status we attain. We look to the outside world for confirmation of our worth, seeking validation from others or from accomplishments. Yet, no matter how much we acquire, how far we go, or how much we achieve, there is a gnawing sense that something is missing, a sense that the treasure we seek is still out of reach. This quest for fulfillment can become endless as we move from one desire to the next, believing that the next acquisition will finally bring the peace we long for. However, the deeper truth is that the very jewel we search for is already within us, waiting to be discovered. The jewel within is not a material object, something that can be touched, seen or owned. It is the essence of who we are, the pure, untainted core of our being that lies beneath the layers of conditioning, fear and distraction. This jewel is the part of us that is eternal, the part that remains untouched by the passing of time, the fluctuations of the mind or the turmoil of external circumstances. It is the stillness that exists within us, the part that is connected to the infinite, to the universe itself. This jewel is our true nature, which is beyond the ego, beyond the limited self and beyond the illusions we create in our minds. When we begin to look inward, we start to recognize that the answers we seek are not found in distant lands, in other people or in external achievements, but in our own hearts. It is through the practice of stillness, meditation and self-reflection that we begin to uncover this jewel. In the silence of the mind, when we strip away the noise and distractions, we start to perceive the deeper truth of our existence. The jewel within is not something to be found, but something to be realized, an awareness that arises when we let go of the need to search outside and instead turn inward to listen to the quiet voice that speaks from within. This realization does not happen in a single moment of epiphany, but gradually over time as we come to understand that the external world is simply a reflection of our internal state. The more we look within, the more we begin to see that everything we experience on the outside is a mirror of our inner landscape. The jewel within shines brighter as we shed layers of attachment, fear and doubt, and as we embrace our true nature. We begin to see that the wealth we seek, the love we long for, and the peace we crave are not things to be acquired or attained, but states of being that arise when we align with our true essence. The jewel within is not something that can be measured or quantified. It is not a physical object, nor is it something that can be owned, hoarded or traded. It is a state of consciousness, a quality of being that transcends all material pursuits. It is the awareness that we are already whole, already complete, and that nothing outside of us can add to or take away from this wholeness. It is the recognition that we are not separate from the universe but an integral part of it. This awareness allows us to live with a sense of deep peace, knowing that we are not in need of anything external to complete us. We are already whole, the jewel is within. As we come to understand that the jewel is within, we begin to shift our relationship with the world. We no longer see it as something to be conquered or manipulated, but as something to be experienced with gratitude, presence and awareness. The search for external wealth, success and approval begins to lose its grip on us. Instead, we find joy in the simple moments of life, in the act of breathing, in the warmth of a smile, in the stillness of the present moment. We start to see that life itself, in all its simplicity and complexity, is the treasure, and that everything we need to experience fulfillment is already available to us in the here and now. In this journey of discovery, the jewel within becomes not just a personal realization but a universal truth. It is a truth that transcends individual experience and connects us to the deeper wisdom of the universe. When we come to know the jewel within, we realize that it is the same jewel that exists in all beings, in all things. We begin to see the divine spark in every person, in every creature, and in every aspect of the natural world. This awareness leads to a sense of unity, a recognition that we are not separate from one another, but deeply connected in the shared experience of existence. The jewel within is not a destination but a continuous unfolding. It is a process of becoming, of deepening in awareness, and of aligning more fully with our true nature. Each day, each moment offers an opportunity to connect more deeply with this inner treasure, to recognize the richness of our being, and to live from a place of authenticity, peace and love. The more we align with this inner truth, the more we experience the fullness of life, and the more we realize that the treasure we sought outside was never distant, it was always right here. Within .ace, we walk through life. It is easy to become distracted by the external world, constantly seeking outside ourselves for the answers and fulfillment we desire. But the truth, as we have discovered, is simple yet profound. The jewel we search for is within. It is in the quiet moments of stillness, in the depths of our being, where we can reconnect with our true nature and realize that we are already whole. The peace, love and wisdom we seek are not distant or separate from us, they are a part of us, waiting to be recognized and embraced. So let us shift our gaze inward, not in search of something we lack, but in recognition of the boundless treasure that already resides within us. Let us live with the awareness that we are not incomplete or in need of anything outside ourselves, for we carry the jewel of life itself. With each step, let us cultivate the awareness that the richness we seek is not something to be acquired, but something to be discovered within, shining ever brighter as we awaken to our true essence. May we all journey inward and unlock the limitless potential that lies within, living from a place of peace, love and authenticity. For when we realize the jewel within, we can begin to live our lives not in pursuit of what we don't have, but in celebration of the fullness of who we already are.